Welcome to the Hormone Hub Podcast. I'm Kylie Pinwell, and this is where we talk about what's really going on in perimenopause and menopause and what you can actually do about it. Welcome to the Hormone Hub Podcast. I'm Kylie Pinwell, clinical nutritionist and your perimenopause and menopause guide. This is the podcast where we have the real conversations about what's actually happening in your body during this season of life. The stuff no one tells you, but everybody needs to hear. If you are new here, welcome. I'm really glad you found us. And if you've been around for a while, you'll know that this is a judgment-free zone where we can just tell it like it is. So let's get into today's episode. Okay, I wanted to start today with a question. Have you ever woken up at 3 a.m. completely wide awake, heart racing, brain already going a million miles an hour, and just laying there thinking, what is wrong with me? Because I have more times than I can count. And here's what my 3 a.m. could look like, because I really want to be honest with you about this. My brain doesn't just wake up. It wakes up and immediately starts running laps. It's like somebody hits play on a loop, and all of a sudden I'm thinking about my kids, what they're going through, whether I'm doing enough, are they happy, are they going to be okay? And then from there, somehow my brain jumps to finances, like random stuff, like, are we going to be able to retire in 10 years? Should we be looking for a smaller house? Do we have enough put away for retirement? Retirement's not even on my radar. And then out of nowhere, and this one really gets me, I'll feel this sudden wave of sadness. I can't explain it. I'm missing people. I think about my grandparents, who passed away years ago, like years and years ago. But, at 3 a.m., it just feels like it was yesterday. And like all these, did I spend enough time with them? Could I have done things differently? Like, not anything I can change, but I can't just seem to switch these things off at 3 o'clock in the morning. They're just there. They're big, heavy, swirling thoughts that I just can't switch off. And on top of all of that, if I'd had a glass of wine the night before, like I have woken up a few times, like after even just one glass, and feeling genuinely nauseous, like feeling awful and sad and wired and exhausted all at the same time. So does this sound familiar? And if it does, I want you to hear this right now. You are not losing the plot. You are not anxiety-ridden necessarily. You are not broken. This is hormonal. And today we're going to have a look at exactly what is going on. So here's what most women are told when they go to the doctor and they say they're not sleeping. Oh, it's probably stress. I had one client whose doctor told her to have holiday, try and wind down before bed. Have you tried magnesium? And look, stress is 100% a factor. I'm not dismissing that. But stress is not the root cause of what's happening for most women in their 40s and 50s. And treating it like when we look at this like a stress problem is sometimes why nothing seems to work. So what I'm going to do is walk you through what's actually going on. So when we move into perimenopause, there's 3 really significant hormone shifts start happening simultaneously. So number 1 is progesterone drops. So progesterone is your calming, soothing hormone. It's the one that helps you feel relaxed and safe and sleepy at night. And basically, it's like your body's natural Valium. And when our levels of progesterone decline, which it does before estrogen, by the way, often years before, we lose that natural buffer. So the things that used to feel sort of manageable all of a sudden feel bigger. The thoughts that we can brush off during the day, like at nighttime, without that progesterone as a cushion, they land differently. They feel heavier. They feel more urgent, more real. And, that sadness that I described, that 3 a.m. grief that comes out of nowhere, that's often very low progesterone. So it's not a mental health crisis, it's a hormone shift. And when we look at it that way, it sort of starts to change the way we approach it. So number 2 is estrogen starts to fluctuate. So estrogen affects our body temperature, our serotonin levels, and the quality of our sleep architecture, which means like the actual structure of our sleep and wake cycles. So when estrogen swings, we often get fragmented sleep, we get night sweats, we get that feeling of kind of never going quite into that deep, restful sleep. And number 3 is cortisol becomes more reactive. So this is a big one for that exhausted, that wired but tired feeling. So cortisol is our stress hormone, and in this midlife stage, our stress response becomes much more sensitive. So things that wouldn't have bothered us 10 years ago now trigger a bigger cortisol response. And here's where the 3 a.m. thing gets really interesting. So when our blood sugar drops overnight, which happens like quite often if we haven't eaten enough or we've had, some wine or dinner was just too light, your body goes into a panic. And to bring your blood sugar back up, it releases cortisol and adrenaline. So these hormones do their job. They bring our blood sugar back up, but they also wake us up in the process. And now you're lying there at 3 a.m., cortisol's pumping through our body, our brain is firing, and every unresolved thought you've ever had is suddenly front and center. So this isn't stress, it's biology. Okay, so I want to spend a minute here on wine because I think this is really important. And I also speak from personal experience. I love a glass of wine. I don't drink during the week, specifically for the whole sleep thing, but weekends I do have a glass or two of wine and I really feel it. And many of us use a glass of wine to sort of wind down in the evening. And like I said, I totally get it. You've had a big day, you're exhausted, you just want to switch off. And that first glass feels exactly what you need. But here's what's actually happening biologically. So alcohol reduces our REM sleep. So that's that deep restorative sleep that your brain and body actually need to repair and regulate. So it raises our body temperature, which is already dysregulated, and it disrupts how our body metabolizes estrogen overnight. So you fall asleep faster, but you don't stay asleep. And you wake up feeling worse than if you hadn't had it at all. So for me, the nausea was a big sign. Just lying there at 3 a.m. feeling genuinely unwell. And this is our liver working overtime to process the alcohol at the right time, at the time that your body's supposed to be resting and restoring. And this isn't a bottle of wine. This isn't like going on a bender. For me, like this just got down to even one glass. So I'm not saying never drink again. That's not what I'm saying. But I do want you to try something. Pick 4 or even 5 nights this week and go alcohol free. So track your sleep, track how you feel. And, just the data normally speaks for itself. So if you're a weekend drinker, but your weekend starts on Thursday and goes till Sunday, you're drinking 4 out of 7 nights. So you're drinking more nights than you aren't. So just get curious and try it. Okay, now let's talk about that racing brain, because I know this is the thing that drives so many of you absolutely mad, including me. You're lying there, you know you need to sleep, you know that lying there thinking about your superannuation balance at 3 a.m. is not going to solve anything, and yet you can't stop. So here's what is happening. So when cortisol spikes in the middle of the night, it activates the part of your brain that's responsible for threat detection. And your brain, bless it, starts scanning for problems to solve. It's trying to protect you. It's in survival mode. So it pulls up everything that feels unresolved. Financial worries, your kids, things that you said 5 years ago, people you've lost, things that you have or haven't said to your partner, things you can't control, big life questions that have no easy answers. And the harder you try and stop thinking, the louder it gets, because trying to suppress these thoughts actually increases their intensity. So this is well documented in psychology, and I see it constantly with my clients. So what do we do about this, or what do we do instead? So there's firstly a couple of things that genuinely help, and I've been talking about this with clients for years. So first up, keep a notebook beside your bed, or if you've got a partner and you don't want to wake them up, go out to the kitchen. So when these thoughts start, write them down, not as a to-do list, but just more as a brain dump. Get them out of your head and onto paper. So your brain can't let go of something once it knows it's been recorded somewhere. So the next thing is focus on your breath, and I mean really focus. So breathe in for 4 counts. And let's do it now. Breathe in, hold for 2, and breathe out for 5. Then breathe in for 5, hold for 3, breathe out for 6. And that extended exhale really helps activate that sympathetic nervous system. So that's our rest and digest response, and it starts to just instantly bring that cortisol down. So they're not magic fixes, but they can really help. And there's something that you can do right in the moment. You can do them tonight. You can do them now. Like if you're feeling worked up, just don't shut your eyes if you're driving. But, it's just an instant way of bringing down that cortisol. So everything I've talked about today, the progesterone, the cortisol, the blood sugar crashes, the alcohol, the racing brain, all of this is addressable. So it's all something that we can do something about. So this isn't something we have to put up with. This is not your new normal, and it's absolutely not pure stress. So I've been working on something behind the scenes, specifically for this. It's called the 3 a.m. fix, and it's designed exactly for this, for women who are doing everything right and still not sleeping. So over a week, we walk through the 5 key hormonal drivers of broken sleep, short videos, simple workbook, daily tracker, and most women feel a real difference within that first 48 hours. So it's just $37. We're launching it this week, and you can find all the details in the show note. So if you're lying awake at 3 a.m. and thinking, yep, this is me, this is the perfect place to start. Okay, that is a wrap on today's episode. So if this resonated with you, I would absolutely love it if you shared it with a friend who also needs to hear it, because I genuinely believe that so many women are lying awake at night thinking something's wrong when really their body just needs a little support and a lot more understanding. So make sure you follow the podcast and don't miss what's coming next, because next episode we go even deeper into this, and we're talking about why you don't actually have a sleep problem, you have a hormone problem, and that reframe changes everything. Thanks for listening to the Hormone Hub podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you follow so you never miss a new one. And for more practical hormone support, visit myhormonehub.com.